to love it, the underdogs on top. And I'm gon' shine, homie, until my heart stop.
Go ahead, envy me. I'm Raps MVP, and I ain't going nowhere, so you can get to know me.
Hated to love it, the underdogs on top. And I'm gon' shine, homie, until my heart stop.
Go ahead, envy me. I'm Raps MVP, and I ain't going nowhere, so you can get to know me.
Okay, so welcome to the Forensics Evaluation YouTube channel. It's going to be a short video today on microfiber. We're going to basically go and have a look at all the sort of most common types of microfiber towels that are out there, with a view to giving you an idea of what you should really have in your stockpile of microfiber towels, so when you're detailing cars, and why you might need those certain towels. So we're going to zoom everything in and take a look at the individual types of towel. Okay, so the first type of microfiber that we're going to talk about, this is called closed loop short pile microfiber. It's called that because the actual strand of the microfiber, the yarn, is weaved in a little kind of loop, and if you really kind of look at it and pull it and pick it apart, you can see the loop in there, sometimes called terry cloths. This is the absolute cheapest you can get. You know, I saw these in a supermarket and they were doing like 10 for £1 or something like that, so I bought them. This type of product I really just use for anything where I know it's going to get destroyed, because it costs almost less than a packet of tissues. So that is something that you would, you know, most detailers would want in their arsenal. The cheapest microfiber that you can lay your hands on. If it's got labels on it, cut it off. It's no use to anyone. The same towel you can also get in good quality formats. So this is a closed loop short pile towel. It's Korean made. And there's another example of a short loop one there with no border on it. It's been cut with an ultrasonic kind of laser, I think is what does it. But you know, this is even safer than this one. You still wouldn't use these particular cloths on your paintwork for polish removal or wax or sealant removal. The reason is less about how safe they are and how likely they are to scratch your car, although that is a factor if there's dirt on your car. But there shouldn't be any dirt on your car when you applying polish, wax and sealants. But if there is, these are less absorbent than a buffing cloth that we'll talk about later on. It's more the fact if you're wiping polish off with this particular cloth, because it's got a short pile on it, you go over your polish once, this microfiber towel then becomes an applicator for polish rather than removing more with the short pile, where if it's got a longer pile you can get more polish off with that particular towel before that towel becomes saturated with product. Because don't forget, microfiber is also a great applicator because it holds product within the structure. So this is no good. Short pile closed loop is no good for removing polishes, waxes or sealants. Just remember that. It's better for general cleaning and other things like removing loose liquid, buffing clean your windscreen, stuff like that, and trim. Okay, so we're going to move on. Next type of microfiber we're going to talk about is suede microfiber. So this isn't real suede, it's a microfiber version of it, I assume. So if anyone knows a little bit about how this thing is made, because it looks exactly like suede, so I've got no idea. But really this type of towel is something you want in your arsenal, and I use it only for cleaning glass. So when I'm cleaning glass I'll have two towels, a suede microfiber towel and a closed loop microfiber towel. So it's really important to have two. I'll spray the product onto the glass on the exterior and then work it with this towel, because this, you know, this towel makes contact all over the paintwork. It's not absorbent. It's not going to just suck up all the products. It's quite thin, so it's good for working the product. And then just as that product starts to sort of evaporate and dry out and disappear, I buff off with the short pile, which is really grabby, and it will give you a nice clean windscreen. So suede microfiber is good for applying solvent cleaners to your glass. Okay, the next type of microfiber that I want to talk about is waffle weave microfiber. So waffle weave microfiber is basically for absorbing liquid. Think of this stuff as blotting paper. So wherever there's loose liquid on your car, stuff that will run off, water being the classic one, quick detailer, anything that is loose, you know, a wax is not loose, a polish is not loose, you know, a sealant's not loose, so you get the idea. This product is great for that. it doesn't have a thick pile on it. It's more the structure of it that has these kind of like woven pockets on each side that mean it's really absorbent. So you basically lay this on wherever the loose liquid is. It will suck up the liquid, and then you can wring it out and go again. So this is definitely a towel that you want to have in your arsenal. Some people will say about these that they're not that great for using as a drying towel all over your car, even though they'll suck up loads of water, because they don't have a pile on them. So if there's any dirt on your car and you're moving this over your paintwork, there's a risk, or a higher risk, of scratching your car. So some people don't favour these as drying towels, but they're sort of things that you should have in your arsenal anyway, just for when you're kind of working with a quick detailer or something like that. But there is a new towel on the market which is like a variant on the waffle weave, and it's a fluffy waffle weave, and this is a Korean made fluffy waffle weave, and it's got a really nice pile, split pile, as well as the waffle weave structure. So it's actually good for moving across your paintwork, because if there is any dirt lying there, again there shouldn't be, but there always could be, this is more, the pile on it's more absorbent, so you're less likely to really be forcing that dirt across your paintwork and slicing up your clear coat. So this is something to watch out for, a fluffy Korean waffle weave towel. I think it's something you might want to look into. You can dry your entire car with this. I've just finished drying mine. You just keep wringing it out and going over it, and then go back over with one of the buffing cloths and some quick detailer at the end. So you don't need a massive drying towel, but we'll talk about those in a second. Okay, so the next type of cloth we're going to talk about, and this is probably the most important cloth where quality is an issue, is the buffing cloth. So these are referred to as kind of plush, high pile, sometimes weft net buffing cloths. So their purpose really is they're designed to remove product from your paintwork. So you do not use these cloths for any sort of function that involves dirt. You don't want dirt getting into these cloths. You want to keep them immaculate. They're for removing polish, they're for removing wax, they're for removing sealant. You can also use them for like buffing up quick detailer at the end. Don't use them for glass. Don't go near your wheels with them, you know. Like I say, just for paintwork duties. Okay, so as opposed to being the cloths we talked about earlier on were a short pile closed loop microfiber. This is a weft knit cloth. So in other words, the microfiber strands in it are all sitting upright as opposed to in a loop. It's called plush because the length of that those microfiber strands are beyond, I think if it's beyond 2 or 3 millimeters, again I don't know, someone will know, then it's classified as plush. Basically, it just means it's got loads of microfiber there. These lovely, thick, fluffy, split pile strands of microfiber that are going to absorb loads of product. Right, the most important thing when you're buying these is to go and buy them from a supplier that's giving you Korean-made ones. The quality of the yarn or the microfiber that's used in the Korean towels is better than the Chinese towels. And the only way you're ever going to know, because that statement's out there on the internet, the only way you're ever going to know if that statement is true is to go and buy them and compare them. So if you bought quite a lot of microfiber, which is something you don't shout about, but if you bought a lot of microfiber, you will know. Here's an example of like a cheap Chinese one. Straight away, a lot of the Chinese ones don't have the ultrasonic edge. They have a board around them, so that can be a clue that it's a Chinese towel. You can feel the difference in quality with these. The fluffiness and the sort of lightness and the sort of the pile on it is immediately obvious that it's better than the quality that they make in the Chinese towels. That doesn't mean to say that all of the microfiber towels that come from China are bad. You know, there's some that I really like and I use all the time that are from China. But when it comes to buffing cloths, I think all of the ones I use come from Korea. Okay, so buffing cloths. Find a good supplier of high quality Korean buffing cloths. Also the blend, go for 70-30 ones if you can. That seems to be the sweet spot with regards to kind of softness and absorption. So 70-30 blend. Don't get too carried away with density. There's this all these towels have a rating called GSM, which stands for grams per square metre. So it refers to how much material you're getting in a square metre, or in other words, the density. That is not a reflection of quality. It can be just a reflection of the type of towel. For example, this towel here is double layered, so its density is 1,100 grams per square metre. It's not as good a quality as towel as this one, which is about 400 grams per square metre. So don't get too carried away with GSM. So that is buffing cloths. Okay, the next thing that we're going to talk about is drying cloths. So these are a really popular part of most detailers' arsenal of equipment. So you will use these once a car has been, you know, pre-washed or whatever, shampooed with a good method, you know, the 2-bucket method. There's loads of people with videos about how to do that out there. Then you've got a clean car that they've rinsed off, and you want to get the water off it because the water will stain the car, and it does, you know, especially in the summer. You can get a car covered with water spots, and they can be a right pain to get off as well. So you have drying towels. So the drying towels are generally a lot bigger, so you can store a lot more product in them. So I've been raving about high quality kind of Korean microfiber when I was talking about the buffing cloths. Here I've got 2 drying towels. This one is Chinese. I'm almost, yeah, made in China. I'm almost sure. I didn't even know, but I knew it was Chinese from just because I've used it a few times. It's a good towel. It's Chinese. This one is Korean, and it's a 70-30 blend, and it's exactly the same cloth as I just showed you when I was going through the buffing one, but it's a drying towel version of it. Much better quality than the Chinese one. This one would cost about £18. This one you'd probably be able to get something very similar for about £12 like that, even though I paid more for this one, but won't go into that. One thing that's worth mentioning, most of these drying towels that are Chinese made are made by the same people. So when you see people out there saying which is the best drying towel, and someone's saying, you know, it's the Super Deluxe drying towel from JML, and then someone else saying no, it's not. Generally they're arguing it's the same blokes made the towel, and there's very little difference. It's more how you use the towels. You can dry your car with a waffle weave if you want to and still do it safely. You don't also need a massive towel. I've just dried a complete car with a towel this big, and you wring it out, you know, and you're left with a film of water, and you go over that film with a plush cloth and your quick detailer. So these towels are kind of like massive, and again, people get carried away with it. I've got to go and get the biggest, most densest towel is going to be the best. The bigger it is, the more water you can absorb with it before it gets saturated. But it starts to become clumsy to kind of use it. But you could also argue if the bigger it is, the less you're going to be wringing this towel out. So the point I wanted to make before I started rambling is that the quality of these Chinese microfiber drying towels is good enough. You know, the difference between these and the Korean ones, you know, there's enough of a difference that if you're buffing with them, you'd want the best. But when it comes to just soaking up loose liquid, these Chinese ones are more than suitable. So this particular towel, you know, if you see someone who recommends you a good drying towel and it's pretty dense, it's pretty big, it sounds like a good price, and it's from a brand that you like, it will do the job. Don't get obsessed thinking that one from someone else is going to suck up all the water and the other one's going to be no good. It's more about how you use it, to be honest, and it's more about how once you have dried your car quickly, going over it, you know, whatever technique you want, going back over it with some detail spray and a real dry buffing cloth will really get it nice and shiny and get those water streaks off. So just before we wrap this up, I just want to talk about a couple of types of hybrid towels. So I'll just cut the video because I'll end up doing about 3 takes. Okay, so the first kind of, I said hybrid, more utility towel. So the first utility towel that I talked about that you might want to have in your collection is a towel that has 2 different types of pattern of microfiber on it. So on one side, this particular towel has the standard, sorry about the focus, it should settle down, the standard terry cloth on this side. Then the other side, it's got like the split sort of plush microfiber. So this is quite a good towel to have. You know, this format of towel is quite good to have when you're washing a car and you've got some different duties that you want to get. You know, you can put the plush side on your paintwork without too many concerns. It's really nice and soft. You know, if there's any dirt lurking around, it's going to get absorbed in there. But then if you want to go over some glass, you've got the terry cloth side. So this is a particular type of utility towel that I think is something to consider. I'm not sure what they're called, if it's called dual-sided or something like that, but you could probably hunt around and see if there's any offerings. This particular one's Chinese made as well, but it's a very good towel. So just before we wind this up, I just thought it'd be interesting to show you some microfiber. Oh, where's that gone? So that is a real-time view of the Korean split pile microfiber. So that's two strands of the microfiber coming out of the towel. You can see what we're talking about with that capillary action of all the kind of little strands of microfiber out there. But that core structure of the microfiber, you can see why it's so absorbent. And this is getting ultra geeky, but I thought it'd just be worth showing you that. That's why microfiber is safe. Look, this is real time. If I nudge this, it'll move. You see it? So that is looking at the cloth in real time. I think. Just, can we focus in? I think that's, well, I don't think we're going to be able to get much more, but you can see why microfiber is so safe from that particular shot. Okay, so I want to just quickly really wrap this up now. So to summarise, we talked about 4 or 5 different types of microfiber that you are going to need in your arsenal as a detailer. The standard closed loop microfiber, general purpose microfiber for those types of jobs where they're highly likely to get dirty. We talked about quality being more important than quantity generally when you're not with that type of microfiber. Some people might disagree, but the advice to go and get a pile of cheap microfiber, you know, from your local supermarket, or Costco is one that a lot of people recommend or whatever, is really good advice. Get loads of it so that you can throw it away when it gets dirty, really dirty, if you've used it to clean your engine bay, etc. It also pays to have a few examples of some good quality closed loop microfibers for other things. You might want to have a dedicated ones that you use for your glass that are really good quality, because they're a bit better at kind of absorbing the solvent and grabbing it off the windscreen, whatever. So you know what those microfibers are for. The next type were the suede microfiber. That was quite a specialist microfiber. I have them, but I only use them for laying out the glass cleaning solvent on glass. If anyone knows of any other use for those microfibers, let me know. I'd be really interested to know, because I don't know what else I could use them on. The third type was the waffle weaves that are great for soaking up liquid like blotting paper. A lot of people don't favour them because there's no pile on them, so that worries some people. They like to have a nice fluffy thing that dries rather than a towel with no pile. But you know, if you use them correctly and you don't drag them over your paintwork when there's a risk of there being dirt on there, you've got no worries. And we also quickly mentioned the fluffy waffle weave towel, which I think is quite good actually. I really like that. I dried my car with it today. I like using that. Then we talked about your most important towel out of the lot, which is your buffing towel, where you really want to spend a little bit more money. You know, you can pick up this microfiber for next to nothing. Your buffing towel, you want to spend a bit more, make sure it's Korean made, 70-30 blend, edgeless, you know, reasonably dense, probably somewhere between 400 and 500, you know, good quality Korean towel. And the last one, we talked about drying towels, where I said the quality is less important. It's more how you use them. So, you know, it seems a really popular question. What's the best drying towel? I see that question asked all the time. And the answer is, you know, there probably isn't one. Most of the Chinese ones are made by the same people, you know. So when you hear someone say, no, this is the best one, it's the, you know, Super JML Ultra Fluff Dryer is much better than this one. It's probably made by the same guys. The two drying towels that I showed you, I had a Korean one, high quality, and a Chinese one, which was slightly lower quality. both of them great for drying your car. It doesn't really matter. There you go. The important thing with drying your car is to get that liquid off in a safe way and then go over your car with a quick detailer later on. Okay, so hopefully this video has been useful to some people that are kind of not too familiar with all the different types of microfibers that car detailers will have out there. And in other videos I'll probably review specific products which you know, I use that I think you might want to have. This video I didn't want to go into specific brands and stuff like that because it was more just to tell you about different types. So I've got to keep the time down on these videos or else they'll get boring. So hope that was informative. I hope I'm going to chop it together a bit quicker, and I hope it was of some use. Thank you.